There are a whole lot of ways to interrogate data and information from an endpoint, a device, from a machine, from a computer, and one of the coolest ways to do that is to treat the whole operating system like a database. And in this video, we're going to play with that. I want to showcase osquery within a TryHackMe room, or exercise, or lab, or environment that we can play with it, and it's already all spun up and installed for us. I'll include a link in the video description, but if you are online on tryhackme.com and you move into the Learn section, you can take a look at some of the different learning paths, whether or not you're getting into offensive security or defensive security, red teaming or blue teaming, all the things you could learn to get into cybersecurity. In this video, we're going to go explore a component of the SOC Level 1 learning path, and it teaches you all about becoming a security analyst. Whether or not you're going to be junior, intermediate, senior, advanced, all of this is a component of the career. Now, I do want to speed it, run, and move on ahead because a lot of the cyber defense framework stuff and some of the fundamentals, I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with. Some of the tools that you might dig into for cyber threat intelligence, Yara, OpenCTI, MISP, etc. The network security and traffic analysis one is also phenomenal. I do love a whole lot of networking, but truthfully, I'm a big fan of the endpoint. I love host forensics. I like digging into the machine itself. So hey, let me take a look at osquery, but I do want to show you, hey, you could also zoom into SIEM, whether it's Splunk, whether it's ELK, you could get into some other DFIR, digital forensics, and in response, whether or not it's new artifacts, other tools, memory forensics, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Let me go dig into osquery. Now, TryHackMe streamlines all of this for us and gives us a whole lot of info, gives us a little bit to help with our learning and our education here. Check it out. osquery is an open source agent that was created by Facebook in 2014. It converts the operating system into like a database that allows you to basically ask questions like you would interact with SQL queries or that structured query language. But that way you could list processes, services, user accounts, even files, all incredible things that could really, really help out incident responders, security analysts, threat hunters, detection engineers, whatever it might be over on the detection engineering side. So much stuff, all the different things you could get into within blue team or defensive cybersecurity. And osquery is one tool in our toolkit. So hey, say we have read that, we can mark that as complete. And now let's go ahead and move on to spin up our machine. Now this is awesome because, again, TryHackMe will already have this installed and ready for us. We can just kind of hit go, click on that nice green start machine, and it spins it all up even side by side in the web interface, in the environment, so it already just gives us access to this box. It's going to take a little bit for this to spin up, but it's still just super convenient. Hey, we already have it ready for us, and we can keep reading right on the other side. Okay, our machine is coming together here. We got some life in here. They do give us credentials over on the left-hand side, but it looks like it's already set to auto login, and we are just ready to roll. Okay, take a look. Now we have a full-blown Windows desktop all within our browser. That is so slick. And take a look. It looks like we will get started with the PowerShell terminal pinned on the taskbar. That is that blue icon down below. And we'll enter the command osquery to enter the interactive mode of osquery. Let me make this text size a little bit bigger. Okay, now we are within our PowerShell prompt, and I will enter osquery to get into interactive mode, just as it suggests, and we should be ready to rock. Takes just a moment for it to spin up, and it says we're using a virtual database. If you need help, type .help. We can mark that as completed, and then we can move on to the next task. Ooh, okay, take a look. This is how we will work with osquery, or the interactive rendition of osquery. Again, that .help looks like the syntax to be able to list out all the things that it might be able to do, and a lot of this is word wrapped, and forgive me for the giant text, but we can see things like .tables to list tables in the database, or we could get different types or different modes or all the things that we might want to be able to do with osquery. And of course, this is all explained in the definitions on the left-hand side. And note, the documentation states that there are meta commands, and they are prefixed with a dot or a period. Now note, just as we mentioned, .tables will allow us to look through any of the tables in the database. And if I scroll down here, note, hey, let me get back to that. We could just .tables something like processes, or just process on its own, and to list all of the tables that include that as like a substring in their name. So processes is an option, process open sockets or process memory map, all the different things we could drill down into and explore just by kind of querying, okay, what tables exist within osquery. They do this for user, and if you wanted to actually drill down as to how is that table made, what fields or data or information do you actually include in that table, well, we could use .schema. Now let's do that on the processes table that we just learned about, and that will tell me all of the things that are included, and it's a little bit of a mess here. I'll note that. Hey, you've got all the things like the path to the process, maybe the current working directory, maybe the user time, maybe disk bytes read or protection type, all the different types included with that, whether or not it's a string or an integer, etc., etc. Now, this is very SQL-like, right? It's using the same sort of commands that you might use if you're working with a natural database, like MySQL, MySQL, SQLite, MS SQL, Transact SQL, Postgres, whatever you want. Select is probably all that you'll end up using because we are just going to be querying information about the database. You probably wouldn't insert anything. You're just trying to learn about the file system and the operating system, right? But you could select any of the given columns that you want from a table, from processes, from users, etc. One of the important things here, though, is that they do get into how you might display data. Now, again, in sort of a cramped vertical setup that we're in right now, maybe it's not the best to try and display it out like a table with ASCII art and all that. We could actually check out different modes if we wanted to view, maybe a mode in list format. That way it'll be a little bit easier to read and look through what we're actually exploring and seeing in the database here. Couple questions. Hey, how many tables are returned when we query table process in the interactive mode of osquery? We ran that just a moment ago. That answer is 3 from what I remember. Looking at the schema of the processes table, which column displays the process ID for the particular process? Well, we did that a moment ago. What is it? PID? That's probably what we're going to be up against. Yeah, I see it right here. Just underneath us running the command PID for process ID. Let's enter that. Examine the help command. How many output display modes are available for the .mode command? Well, we saw that just a moment ago. It was a little bit messy and hard to read, but looks like, okay, we have CSV, we have column, line, list, and pretty. So that's what, 5? Yep, let's try that. Cool, now we can dig into the schema documentation. Let me scroll up here, and it actually links us, and I really, really appreciate that. It tells us, hey, go check out the real documentation. Actually go see all the manual instructions for how you might be able to learn more about osquery. Now, at the time of writing, that lab and that environment actually had the osquery version as 5.5.1, and you might be able to see it. I realize my face is in the way, but actually in the top right, you can toggle that to the current, which is 5.82 at the time of recording. But for the focus of this lab exercise environment, let's remain on 5.5.1. They actually said, hey, go ahead and change this to tables that are compatible with different architectures, different operating systems, excuse me. Right now, it'll probably just show all platforms, or at least, okay, everything that might be an option across maybe Mac, maybe Linux, maybe Windows, whatever you're up against. But if we just set it to Windows, as it is what we're looking at inside of our virtual machine, that gives us about 106 tables. All the things that we might be able to actually learn about inside the documentation, not just that .help command. But that way we can get a description for every single column, for every single kind of table, and really see everything that's available to us. Now, TryHackMe's explanation also goes through this, and just as I toggled it to Windows, they explain that just as well. And if we're actually taking a look here, in that version 5.5.1, how many tables are returned when we select both Linux and Windows? Well, let's go take a look. I will scroll back up to the top, and let's select Linux alongside Windows, and that gives me 56 tables I can see in the top left here. So let's enter that. Looking good. How about for Mac? Okay. Toggle that. Let's get to Mac. That's 180. I can see in the top left. Let's enter that. In the Windows operating system, which table is used to display the installed programs? Ooh, okay. So, hey, having fun with this. It gives me a little bit of chance to explore, maybe reinforce what I'm learning here, maybe get hands-on, some education, application-based, practical way. Let me go ahead and hit Control F on my keyboard so that I can search and find in this page. I do want to look for installed programs. No, don't see any hits for that. How about just programs? Okay. Represents products as they are installed by Windows installer. Is that what I'm looking for? Let's try that. Programs, a good way to sanity check. Good. Okay. What column contains the registry value within the registry table? Well, let's toggle back to our documentation here. Let me Control F for registry. And now we can see again in the description, these are all the different things that the columns might contain. Their type and of course the description. Looks like the data is what contains the contents of a registry value. So the answer there, I'm going to assume matching those 4 stars, is data. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and create some SQL queries. Again, everything that we were just kind of alluding to is that we'll use the select statement. We want to end up querying things from the operating system and the file system, everything on this device and endpoint, but that's really all it takes. So we could try to, I don't know, select all, like a star, from programs, and I realize my face is in the way, so let me bring this line down a little bit. Go and select star from programs, and they use limit 1 here. So only one result will be returned. Note that you do have to include a semicolon here. If you don't, it'll kind of give you a secondary prompt, like it's waiting and it's asking for more input from you. You will always have to include a semicolon to end the command or the line that you're trying to run. So that's all that it takes. And my mode did not seem to stick. Did I get that wrong? Mode lines, how about that? Let's try and run that one more time. I'm using the up arrow on my keyboard to be able to see that. And I'll include the semicolon here. There we go. Now we have a little bit more of a better and easily read display. Okay, so hey, we just got the very first with the limit 1, only return 1 result for programs that we wanted to query. Now it's different from their example. They expressed that it very well could be, but rather than using the star, we could actually go ahead and get any specific column or field that we want based off of their name. They showcase an example here with, okay, version, install location, install date, all these other columns that we saw in the schema of the table. Looking good. Now we could go ahead and select the count, a little bit of a function that we might wrap around with all of the results from our programs table. Again, I'll use that semicolon. Looks like I have 19 present on this device here. And we could actually drill down and actually set filters. We could use a where clause to say, look, I only want to return results. I only want to get entries and records that match where a username or a column, whatever field we want, is actually equal to any value, any criteria that we suggest. Here they're looking for users where their username is James, setting the equals there, and they have a bunch of these conditional operators that are listed out, and you might even be able to do like substring searching if you use like, one of that special keywords that might allow us to say, hey, is something like this? Does it contain the word user or anything we kind of really want to match? They use this with a wildcard that is no longer an asterisk when we're working inside of a string. It's actually a % sign. So that's something we can keep in mind, and they showcase some examples for that. And of course, I'm sorry, if I'm just speed running, maybe a little bit of a crash course through this, of course, I really, really encourage you to go fire this up and try it yourself. That's the fun of TryHackMe, is that you can do this at your own pace and really get hands-on and explore. So look at it, all the stuff that they're drilling down into and stuff that we might already be familiar with if you're really always working in databases to begin with. So hey, it was asking how many programs are installed on this host. We saw 19 from doing that just a moment ago. Submit that. What is the description for the user James? Ooh, okay, so here we can use that where clause. Let's go ahead and select description, I'm going to assume is the column name, from the users table where username is equal to James. And note that I'm using single quotes to denote a string there. I'll go ahead and hit enter, and it tells me it is a creative artist. Okay, so let's go ahead and enter that as our answer. Perfect. Now here they actually give us the query. So we can select path, key, name from registry where key is equal to HKey users. We're trying to find the full SID, or the security identifier descriptor thing, of the user with the RID 1009. Okay, so let's try to select. There, I typed out what they suggested there, and I'm not seeing anything come through. Did I have a typo, or is it just sensitive on the strings? Let me use the single quotes there. How about that? Oh my goodness, I forgot the one that I actually need to have a K for. I just can't read or write, apparently. Okay, so here are a couple that have including the whole SID, and it just ends in that 1009, which should be our RID or our RID. So now we can copy and paste that and select that as our SID. I'll enter that there, looking good. All right, let's see if I can actually type and actually include the keys that we need. The next question, let's look for our IE extensions. Oh man, I'm trying really hard. My brain is working for this. What is the Internet Explorer browser extension installed on this machine? Really, really cool that it actually has this as a database or table within osquery. We can see the path here, and I'm going to assume that that is what it is looking for as the answer to this, because it does note a colon after the asterisk. So this is probably ieframe.dll. We can go ahead and submit that. And that looks good. Let's try another one where we are going to select the name and install location from programs where name is like, note that operator there, and we're going to be using our string. So if we use our wildcards, that has to be a %sign, and we want Wireshark as what we are trying to match, as sort of a substring including that. So there we go. We have a name of Wireshark version 3.6.8, 64-bit, and that T is falling off, but I'll copy that line and spit that back in to submit it. Looking good. We have completed that task. Let's move on to the very, very last one, and now we need to know which table stores the evidence of process execution in the Windows operating system. Ooh, I want to go take a look at the documentation here. Let me Control F for like execution. Application compatibility cache contains artifacts of execution. Is that right? Shim cache? Yeah, let's try that. How about shim cache? Any luck? Nope, I got it wrong. What is this? User assist? Registry key that tracks when a user executes an application from Windows Explorer. Is it user assist? User assist. Yay! Okay, cool. That's fun. That is the TryHackMe, like, ooh, just figure it out, try to learn something new, and really be able to sanity check our answers here. I like that. One of the users seems to have executed a program to remove traces from disk. What is the name of that program? Well, we have the path, application file path, and the last execution time and count and SID in here. So path should include the file name, right? Let's go ahead and select path from user assist. How about that? Clear the screen so we have a little bit more real estate. Let's select path from user assist, semicolon there. And oh goodness, there's a lot. Trying to scroll up here. Oh, James has a weird one. Disk wipe. That E is trailing off. Diskwipe.exe. That sure sounds like, hey, remove traces from disk. Let me paste in diskwipe, and that is correct. Let's search for a VPN installed on this host. Okay, so we can do some critical thinking. We know how to do this, right? We could select, what is it, all. Let's just try to get everything from our programs where we know things are installed, where the name is like. Again, strings here with %signs as a wildcard. And VPN, I want to have inside of the name. How about that? Can I just use that with the semicolon there? Ooh, Proton VPN. We can see that Proton VPN is the name of the VPN that they have installed. Let's see if that is the correct answer. I'm going to assume it is. Looking good. How many services are running on this host? Well, we know the count syntax really easy now, right? Let me select count all. And we want that to be from services. Probably a table that works fine. Yep, 214. Dunzo. A table auto exec contains a list of executables that are automatically executed on the target machine, or like startup entries. There seems to be a batch file that runs automatically. What is the name of that batch file with its file extension? Okay, so let's just select name. Is name a thing that we could use from auto exec? Let's just try it. Let's explore. Taking a little bit of time to return the results on that one. Is it just slow? Hit and enter. Maybe auto exec is just a giant table. Oh, yep. Okay. Just pulling stuff down. Oh, there we go. Okay. Name is bat_startup.bat. I'm going to assume that's it, right? Batch script that would run on startup, probably a bat_startup.bat. Submit. What is the full path of the file found in the above question? That is the last in the list. Could we just get path from there? I think that's worth an educated guess. Select path from auto exec where name is equal to bat_startup.bat. That's a fine syntax for us, right? We can try that. Cruising through it. I'm sure we'll get a result in just a second here. Okay, cool. Looks like, okay, the path is included, and because there were multiple entries, right, we can see it was listed twice in the names. It actually gave us 2 results. We could use our limit 1 there if we only wanted 1 result rather than the duplicate, but take a look. Our path is this thing, program data, Microsoft Windows Start, menu, program, startup, batch scrub, submit. What? My answer is incorrect? What? What? Am I forgetting something? Oh, wait a second. It means last in the list as in like the real legitimate actual location. Not the program data one that's put in startup, but like the original file itself. Ooh, okay, cool. So let me try to use this one. Submit. And there we go. Hey, we did it. Cool. We absolutely crushed this room, this exercise, this activity to learn and play with osquery. And hey, if I may, I think TryHackMe made that super easy and super fun because look, it gave us the exercise, it gave us everything that we might be able to play with and learn in an environment that is already set up for us, and then a couple of things to tinker with, a couple things to try different tasks and try to interrogate some information that's already present. Like the data is there. We just get to have fun and learn and do some of our own self-learning and training. If you haven't, you should totally go check out TryHackMe. Again, I'll have a link in the description, and I really appreciate them helping sponsor this video. And if you enjoyed this video, please do some of the YouTube algorithm stuff, like, comment, subscribe. It helps the channel grow. If you're up for it, hey, other Patreon, PayPal links below in the description. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Take care, everyone.